Hello guys and gals, it is Soulfax here. Welcome to another episode of Mondays with Soulfax. Before we start, I know I missed a couple of weeks of Mondays with Soulfax, and there is a very good reason for that. My computer is acting up. Well, to say that my computer is acting up would be sort of a lie, because ever since we upgraded this old piece of shit to this relatively new piece of shit, my computer has been acting up. And I've talked about this in previous episodes of Mondays with Soulfax, but let me just run through it again, because I think that I finally figured out what the problem is with my computer. So, to give you some context, we bought this original casing, I think it was around 2008, yes, 2008, and ever since then we've been using this computer with the same components. But just last year, middle of last year I think, me and my brother cashed in some money. Well, actually he cashed all the money, yes, thank you bro. And we upgraded the computer to a mid-range computer of today's terms, and it's actually a very good computer. It allows me to run most of the games that I've played so far in 1080p at 60 frames per second if I fiddle around with the settings a little bit. But anyhow, ever since we got it, whenever I try to render videos, and I'm not being entirely careful with doing that, my computer crashes. And that's a big problem because, well, firstly, of course, whenever my computer crashes, there is the possibility that something is going to burn out, something is going to break, and I won't be able to use it again because I just pushed it too far without trying to fix the problem. And secondly, I want to remain on schedule, and what that means is I have one weekly series, and that is this series, Mondays with Soulfax, and because my computer has been acting so strangely, I can't be on schedule, and that's really annoying to me because, well, you don't get it. You might get it, but you probably don't get it. There's just something, if this series is called Mondays with Soulfax, then it's supposed to come out every Monday, and I like doing these videos because they honestly just relax me, and I have fun making them. But anyhow, so as I was saying, the computer that we currently have has the following components. It has a new power supply by somebody, I don't know what, that outputs 800 watts, I think, probably. I really don't know, doesn't care. It's a very nice power supply. Then the graphics card is a GTX 750 Ti with 2 GB of video RAM. I always say virtual RAM because it sounds better, but it's video RAM. Then the processor, an AMD FX 6300 Black Edition with 6 cores, and it can run up to 3.5 GHz, so it's a solid processor. And I have 8 GB of DDR4 HyperX RAM. One is black and the other one is white because that is cool and that is awesome. The only thing that we didn't upgrade in this old Frankenstein of a computer is the motherboard. The motherboard has been bought in 2012. That's the only thing that we upgraded from the original build that we bought in 2008. And the motherboard is, like the rest of the computer, a Frankenstein. It's the most weirdest thing. I think it's because back in 2012 there was a transitionary period between DDR3 and DDR4 RAM and the AM and the AM Plus graphics cards and processors. And because of that, the motherboard that we bought can support everything. It supports from DDR3 to DDR5 RAM. It supports AM Plus and AM processors, and it supports both GTX and AMD graphics cards. So it's a Frankenstein of a motherboard, and I think that is where the problem lies. I think because it's such an old motherboard, well, old in modern standards, my graphics card doesn't get enough juice when it runs at very high capacity. And that happens when I try to render videos, and that is why when I try to render videos, especially in 1080p, that is the only reason why you haven't seen a 1080p video on my channel as of yet. When I try to render videos in 1080p, it always crashes, but when I try to render it 720p, it sometimes doesn't crashes, and I'm able to release a video like I did this Friday, the second episode of A Grain of Truth, the first episode of Witcher Stories. Speaking of which, I released the second volume of A Grain of Truth this Friday, and it's been received with mixed reception. As of now, it has, I think, 160 views, roundabout, doesn't really matter, and 3 likes and 1 dislike. Now, I do understand why people dislike this episode. Well, they dislike this episode more than they dislike the last one. Well, I made one huge blunder. I released this episode without making it abundantly clear that it's the second part of one whole story. And whoever watched this video without watching the first video was like, what's going on? Why is there a monster here? Why is he talking about a monster? What kind of intro to a story is this? So yeah, I kind of fucked up on that one, and I do understand why people didn't like this one as much as they liked the first one. And also, one thing that I noticed The Witcher lore videos that I did received a lot more views and praise than these videos that I'm currently doing. And I think that is down to the fact that the writing in both series is a lot different. It's so different from each other. In the Witcher lore series, I was just talking as Soulfax and trying to tell you the history and the life that the people that I'm talking about had. In the first case was Geralt of Rivia, and the second case is going to be Yennefer of Vögenbang, so yeah, just watch out for that. So in that, I was just being myself and talking to you about the stuff that they lived through in life, and it was easy writing and it was easy to read and easy to narrate. But in these videos, in the Witcher story videos, I'm delving somewhat deeper into the writing aspect. I'm trying to not mimic the writing of whoever translated the novels by Andrzej Sapkowski, yes. I'm trying to mimic his original writing as I see it through the translation by whoever translated it. So it's a lot more difficult for me to write these scripts, and that is why it takes more time to write these scripts than it took to write the original Witcher lore scripts. And also, I think that my delivery in these videos is more, I don't know, I think I've gotten in my own head, and I think I'm thinking too artistically. I'm trying to like deliver professionally, deliver these lines professionally, and I really shouldn't do that because when I watch my original videos, the Witcher lore videos, and I watch these videos, my delivery is so much better in the Witcher lore videos, and I wasn't even trying that hard back then, so I need to dial it down a little bit and rethink what I was doing so far. This whole part of the video makes no sense. I'm just sorry, I messed up this whole part, but let's move on. Okay, so what is this game that you're currently watching on the screen? Well, it is Rainbow Six Siege, a game by Ubisoft, a multiplayer-only game by Ubisoft that is about terrorists and counter-terrorists or just special ops units killing each other. It's, in a sense, it is like Counter-Strike Go, but it's much more complicated in another sense that you're basically tasked with defending a room or defending a hostage as the defender, the terrorist side, and the attackers or the counter-terrorist units needs to attack you, either kill your entire team or rescue the terrorists or defuse the bomb or stuff like that. And while on paper it seems similar to Counter-Strike Go, it is definitely not similar. The only thing that is similar is that the time to kill is very, very short, just like in Counter-Strike Go. But everything else is a lot different because, well, basically what you see on the screen, it's just not even similar because there's so many avenues of attack in this game. You basically create your own avenues of attack, and that is awesome with this game. And there's a lot more gadgets than there are in Counter-Strike Go. Well, there are no gadgets in Counter-Strike Go, and in this game, every single attacker and defender has a thing that they do, which I really like because it brings a lot more variety to the game, and you get to play it a lot more without it getting stale and boring. But as I wanted to share a story with you. So this was 2015, Christmas Day in 2015. And a friend of mine, we just had drinks and we were just walking around. And I mentioned to him that I saw a trailer about a game that is going to be completely awesome. And it was this game. I saw a trailer for Rainbow Six Siege. And then, prompted by my saying that this game is going to be awesome, he went and checked this game out and said, yeah, this game is actually awesome. And he bought himself a copy. And then, a couple of months later, well, almost a year later, I decided to buy myself a copy. I spent 40 euros on this game, which is really a lot for a multiplayer-only game. And then we played a couple of matches, and we talked through Skype about the game, and I just uninstalled it. I didn't have enough interest to play it at the time, because at the time I was just starting to play Counter-Strike Go. And then, after a couple of months more, I decided to reinstall it again, and I've been playing with this guy, this friend of mine, ever since. And it's really, this game, when you play it with a friend and when you're just messing about and not really taking it all that seriously, it's a very interesting game. But if you do want to take it seriously, you're kind of fucked, because unlike Counter-Strike Go, where you have dedicated servers, where you have training rooms made by people and just playing against bots on a certain map where you can remove the bots and just play indefinitely on the map, looking at it, just trying to remember where certain spots are. There is no such thing in Rainbow Six Siege. There is no dedicated servers, there is no server browser, there's only matchmaking. There is no way to play the game with bots that are not aggressive, that are not trying to kill you, and without a time limit. So there is basically no way to stop and try and figure out how the map works, where the great positions are, where the enemy could be coming from, and stuff like that. And also, there's a lot of maps in this game. There is a lot of maps in this game, and they're all relatively the same size. Some are bigger than other because they're more vertical than other, but the worst map in this game is most fucking definitely the Brazil map, the favelas. It's an amazing map to look at. It is visually and aesthetically amazing. It really gives you that feeling that you're in a drug-infested, hate-infested favela. I don't know why I just said hate-infested, I'm sorry. It really gives you a feeling that you're in Brazil and that you're walking around these streets and where there's junkies, there are drug lords, there are people that want to kill you and rob you. But because it's such a big map and because there's just no cover in that map, you can get shot from every direction, and it's too easy for the enemy to sneak outside of their capture zones, outside of their defending zones, and shoot the attackers before they can even do anything. So yeah. Bottom line, it's a great game, but if you're looking to get competitive in a game, and if you're a competitive gamer like me, which I consider myself to be, really you shouldn't expect too much from Rainbow Six Siege. You're better off playing Insurgency or playing Counter-Strike Go or some other competitive shooter than you are playing Rainbow Six Siege. But anyhow, at that note, I want to finish this video off by saying that the next episode, well, the third volume of A Grain of Truth is going to be probably not this Friday, but the Friday after that, because I want to give myself a 2-week window to make this video, because whenever I say it's going to be done in 1 week, I never do it, because it's just not how it works. It takes longer than 1 week to make one of these videos. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. My name has been Soulfax, and I will see you next time. Bye bye!